I am a coder. I'm a developer. I'm a programmer. Programming computers has been a thread throughout all of my life, even though I didn't start school wanting to be in programming. I started out in nuclear engineering because I assumed, and it turns out pretty accurately, that computers would be a part of everyone's life, and I would be interacting with them no matter what I did. I ultimately didn't enjoy engineering, so I went into programming as a full-time career. I actually remember the first program I ever saw run. I was in 5th grade, about 1983, back in my hometown in Minnesota. And my classmate Chad Johnson, I don't know where he had come across the program, but he typed it into a Commodore PET computer, typed it in line by line. It was just 10 small lines, but it caused a rocket ship to scroll across the screen. And I guess I was mesmerized. At that point, we were playing Oregon Trail and other, maybe some arithmetic games on the computer. But knowing that I could cause the computer to do what I want was revolutionary to me. So I continued taking programming classes in high school. I still remember the pinnacle of my high school programming coding was developing a program that drew mountains at random in the background and a house at random in the foreground. And every time I ran it, it was a slightly different picture. A horrible picture by 1988 standards of computers, but I loved it and I was so proud of the work I did. When I went to college, although I wasn't in programming per se, I did get involved in something called a MOO, which stands for Mud Object Oriented. And there's actually a lot of programming in that. And I also did the randomization route in that as well. I programmed it so that my character, every time you looked at it, would be slightly different. Every time you looked at the room, it would be slightly different. I even randomized things like my email signature, which was possible at the time on the VMS computer I was on. Depictions of computing on screen are mostly ridiculous. Even ones set in contemporary times that aren't meant to be science fiction are horrible and painful to watch. But that's probably because programming itself is certainly far from exciting from the outside. But on the inside, it really scratches all of my itches. It allows me to be creative. It absolutely allows me to be analytical. My favorite part of programming is debugging, figuring out exactly what piece of code I need to fix to make it do what I want. And that's not just programs I write, but also figuring out how to configure systems to do various things. In the early 90s, when I was still a student worker and looking for student jobs, I remember applying for a job at the Department of Neurology at the University Medical Center. And the woman at the time felt I was overqualified to do the tasks that I was hired to do, which was primarily bookkeeping and some light typing. And by that time, I had already had a job for 7 or 8 years, off and on, in various offices. And I remember telling her what I have to admit was a line at the time, that what I really wanted to do was to work around other professionals to find out how they did their jobs, so that when I progressed in my career and became a programmer, I would have some ideas of the enhancements that I could make to make their lives and their jobs better. And even though it was sort of a line, as I said at the time, I ended up believing that deep in my heart. And it's what I've continued to strive to do. The thing I like most about my job right now in Central IT at the University of Arizona is that I can leverage my activities. I can spend maybe an hour of my time creating a page or configuring a script, and that could save someone else out. It could save one person 5 hours of their job versus the 1 hour I put into it. Or if it's ideally, it would save 1,000 people 10 minutes of their job, 20 minutes of the job. It's quite amazing what you can do. And I'm a programmer, and I love doing it.